I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Lockhart Perspective. Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah, yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Lockhart Perspective.
Well, hello and good evening, everyone. I'm so glad that you guys are all able to join us. We're not going to be before you long on this call that we're going to have people calling in on, but I just wanted to touch base with you all on a couple of points. I know there were a lot of people who were sort of disheartened, and I'll be absolutely transparent with you. When I first heard of anybody saying anything negative about Paul, it really did bug me when I first heard it. But I wonder why it bothered me. And it wasn't until I got in touch with reading on I actually went through the encyclopedia of the ancient Roman Empire. And when I stumbled upon the Flavians, am I too hot or can you guys hear me at all? Because lately my mic, I've been doing something wrong. Please let me know if you hear me well. Hi, Steve. How are you? Do you guys hear me well or do I need to turn this up? And it is very hard to wrap your brain around it. Good. Okay, thank you, Ronnie. Ronnie, I've sent you the link. If anybody wants to call in, I put the call-in number on the last post, but I'm gonna put it in again. Pardon me for clicking. So that means everything's gonna be loud. So I just want to tell you guys something. Listen, when we're coming out of unlearning things, there are some things that we memorized. There are some things that we held dear. There are things that we just don't want to let go of, right? Hey, Dan, Deb Woods, Rachel Van Ziel, Diane Britson, how are you? Lori Rodolph, hi, what a name. I love it. Mama Bear and Papa Bear, how are you? There are a lot of things that I think that we just don't want to let go of. Robert Ingram, I think I already hugged your neck, and I think I already hugged Steve's neck. So there's a lot of stuff, you guys, that we don't want to let go of. And I'll be very honest with you, as a person who went to Bible school, like most of you probably did as well, it was very hard to let go of some things. So when I started reading through the encyclopedia of ancient Roman Empire, excuse me, it took me through, and I have it in front of me, but it took me through several different things. And one of the pictures, believe it or not, that's at the very front of it, has what looks like the character or the picture that Ronnie was talking about. It has the vines and the grapes and everything. I want to say this, and so it reminded me of what he was showing us. Here's what I want to say. We have to understand that these wizards deal with duality and doubles on so many different levels. It is what they do. It is the sleight of hand. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, Mama Bear, Papa Bear. Look in the front of that and see, is that what I'm talking about? Because my glasses, I'm in a darker side of the room, but it looks like to me it is exactly that with the leaves and stuff in the hair. But what I want to say is we have to first of all remember that as we are learning, We literally have to turn the grocery bag upside down and shake it. Ladies, you know how we're looking for something and we know that it's in our purse, but we just can't find it. And so finally, we just decide, let me turn this whole pocketbook. I said pocketbook. Let me turn this whole purse upside down and shake it. And then I'm going to shake it and shake it. And then, even after I shake it, I'm going to take it and I'm going to pull that interior lining of my handbag all the way out. And then I'm going to shake it some more. Why am I bringing this up? Because I'd like for us to get an idea of what it looks like to leave Babylon and to rid ourselves of every trace that they ever left. Listen, some of these things that we have been learning as we have decided to dig into the Word are not very comfortable. They're not comfortable because we like where we were, especially at most of our ages, above 30. You know what I mean? Most of us above 30, we sort of get set in our ways and we know what we want to believe and we know what we don't want to believe. And we also know that learning something new, even though it may be true, it takes a lot of work, and then it takes us to be committed to that. And some of us decide, nope, I can't hear this, because in our heart of hearts, I believe we know we'll be held accountable for it. And it's that level of accountability at our later ages, at our later age, that we do not want to have to suffer. And I don't mean suffer bad. I mean, quote, suffer as an exercise or have to deal with it. So there are a lot of things that you may hear that we may all look at together. And the purpose of us doing this is so that we can do the research. Now, let me say this. We did not give the account of Constantine. We didn't write the account of Constantine. We didn't say it according to their history. Constantine said it. We didn't give the account of Paul. We were not saying it as if we were Paul. We were simply reading what was written in the book of Acts. But how many of you know that there may be somebody out there who never wanted us to juxtapose Constantine's account with that of Paul's account while he stood there in the book of Acts, chapter 26? Now, is it your fault that you read that? Is it your fault that you now know that? I submit that it is not your fault, but it is up to you to study to show thyself approved unto your Elohim, Allahayam. Study unto your Allahayam. Make sure that you study and that you study well, that you make him approved of everything that you are doing. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm putting it where you get it, where we all get it. Because I tell you something, finding out new information, whether it be good information or bad information, has a life-altering emotion and a life-altering change. It brings about change. So I would like to open up the calls so that we all can talk together. Ronnie.d.Mann is here. I'm here. We're a family. And I know that if we all come together and we chat and talk about it, now you can't come up in here and get crazy. I just want to let you know that off rip, okay? Because we can all get a little saucy. I don't plan on going there this evening. And so because of that, I just want to let everybody know that if you want to call, please do. You don't have to worry about being online. That is a phone number that will ring directly to my phone. You can pose your question, and then you can have your question answered offline, and we will give you the answer to the best of our ability. And if we cannot, we will make sure that we all study it, dig it up, and bring it to you, and we'll all know it. We'll get the answer together. And I think that's the most important part. Here's the problem, and here's the solution. The problem is that all of our lives we've been in church for the most part listening to somebody else tell us something. And we've never had the opportunity to really sit down and ask those hard questions. And for those of us who have asked the hard questions, oftentimes two things would happen. We would never get the answer, or we would be run off for asking. Now, I'm not saying that that's I'm saying this. That's not a cool way to feel, because then you're left at a disadvantage, because the questions that you have, you never get the answer to, and you always walk around scratching your head and left wanting because the information hasn't been disseminated and you still have that question. The deal is that the majority of people who may be here in this chat right now have decided, you know what, I left church alone because something didn't feel right to me. I didn't feel like I was learning or growing, or there were some things that were going on that I just was not comfortable with. Well, that's the reason why we said a few months ago that we changed the direction of this specific channel so that we could create an assembly for all of us to come to and for all of us to learn together. Now, what does that mean? That means exactly what it is. It's the opportunity to learn. But guess what is on you now? What's on you and what's on me, and even Ronnie and anybody else who's in the chat as we learn information, it's up to us to take that information and do our own study. And we then allow the Ruach HaKodesh to teach us, the separated spirit. He teaches us. We've heard of the term growing pains. Do you know where those growing pains come from? They come from growth. And we have fear when we feel them and we don't understand what's going on. Sometimes that man will go from one age to the next and he's having a middle aged crisis. He's having growing pains. He's now in a different decade. And it's that different decade that's causing him some a little bit of confusion, and he doesn't know exactly what to do. Sometimes that woman is going through growing pains, and those growing pains come out with a name, menopause. And sometimes her hormones may make her act a different way. This new information that's going into her bloodstream on a daily basis as those hormones begin to secrete will cause her to be hot sometimes, cold the other, angry sometimes, happy the other, and then blubbering in a corner and crying like a 2-year-old baby some of the other times. These are growing pains. These are things that we go through in life, and we learn to adjust. We either fix it if it's something that's, physical, like those things we've just talked about, or we accept the information after we've studied it out and there's nothing else left in the pot for us to decipher. So with that said, thank you so much for being with us, Ronnie. I appreciate you for that thought, and I'm glad that you said just what you said. We're bringing this to the table. It's a conversation that we're bringing to the table, and I'm glad you were able to bring that to me. Now, folks, what you guys don't know is Ronnie and I have been friends for a long time, and he and I have conversations like that video we just presented to you. That was one of our conversations. It would have been it just would have been amazing if I had just hushed because my volume was so bad and you guys could have just heard him. But nonetheless, you must, as Robert Ingram just said right here, he says, you pray for discernment, you land somewhere like here. You pray for discernment and you land somewhere like here. Ronnie, as you go ahead and speak, I'm going to go ahead and show all the comments so that everyone in the chat can see the co-laborers' questions or statements at the same time. Go on ahead, sir.
Hey, yeah, I'm actually not sure what to say. I find it kind of interesting that when you present facts that are plainly um, searchable and plainly I mean, you can find this information with a light. You don't have to be extremely diligent in trying to uncover these things. Um, when you can research this information and you can see the facts that lie before you, and all you do is present those facts, that you get you know some type that when somebody does that, there's a specific banter that plays out, and is I just don't understand where, in reference to what you just played, talking about the whole Constantinian cross, and how at the end we related it to Paul's account in Acts 26, and the verbatim similarities of the two accounts. Um, how that comes off as being anti or pro anything, um, when specifically saying, hey, we're starting a conversation here, look at this, isn't this interesting, have you ever considered this, where do we go from here? And that was the whole entirety of the point. in which I presented what I presented, and to assume or think that something is conveyed any way else is, I don't know. I think it says a lot about the individual and what they hold dear to them versus the integrity of how it was presented.
Well, in tandem with that, you're absolutely right. And I also think that it's another major thing for us. It's like we always say, holding on to our sacred cows make us comfortable, whether those sacred cows are literal or whether they are stuffed plushy toys. There are things that keep us satisfied that we do not want to let go. But the question that I have is, do you really seek truth? Because if we're really seeking truth, when we have normal adult conversations, and you know what, let me tell you something. Um, a lot of you all probably as a, hey, Amy, a lot of you all as a part of your curriculum in college possibly had to take, public speaking courses or things of that nature where you literally had to learn the gestures and the physical, posture that you take and the things and how to debate fairly. What's going on right now in the world is shut up and listen. Shut up and take it. And if you have an opposite view, we're going to throw you in the garbage. And I believe that some of that has bled over into what we learned in those debate classes now. What we learned and got an A in, learning how to listen to somebody else's point, hear what they have to say, and then if there's anything that piques your curiosity, take it and study it just so that you can come back with an intelligent answer. That's been thrown away now. So there's a lot of us who, for whatever reason, we feel as if when we hear information that is anti what we think we know, and listen, that's in the book of Acts 26. So who are you angry with? Who deceived you? If and I'm taking a segue from where I was just now, but if somebody comes and you just got your beautiful lawn done and you paid a lot of money and had a landscaping team come in and they laid down a beautiful lawn in the front of your house, all right, and then they gave you some trees along the side and you just love it that way, and then all of a sudden one day somebody drives by with a tandem truck and they back into your yard and they dump it, okay, and when they dump it, it's got weeds and all kinds of stuff there. Are you going to step outside and say, "Oh no, that dump truck isn't there"? Your neighbors are telling you what's going on. There's a dump truck, and what is up? Look at all that. There's nothing on my lawn. Or you're going to get mad at the neighbor. Let's do it that way. You're angry at the neighbor. Now get away from me. There is nothing wrong with my lawn. My lawn is absolutely perfect. And they're looking at you like, "Yo, we're telling you, why don't you just come outside real good and look? Come outside. We're flagging you down, telling you come outside, and you're telling us from your window there's nothing wrong with your window." Well, it might be something wrong with your, excuse my French, not your window. It may be something wrong with your lawn, and you're not going out there to look. This is a crazy analogy, I know, but I'm just trying to put it into terms where we can really get it, because what's the deal with not wanting to see the truth? They didn't put it on your lawn. They're telling you that it's there. The truth is going out the door to see the lawn. The truth is in your approach to what they're saying. Thank you. That's the deal. The information that's being brought to you may not sound like something nice because of how much you've invested in it. The information that you are being told may not sound like something cool because of how much it costs for that landscaping team to come and do all that work. And all you can do is hold your head in your hand and say, "Are you kidding me right now? I cannot believe that they're going to ruin my month or my day or my week with this garbage they're telling me about." When the fact is, all you got to do is go out and look for yourself. Don't be mad at them for bringing the information. Go and look. Seek these things out, because our job is just to bring it to you and to present it to you. The same way it is when I get mothers that come into the chat. Authentic Seeker, thank you so much for that. We appreciate you. The same way it is when I have to tell moms or wives, the truth. when I have to share truth with them. Sometimes they may not like it. I had a few young ladies, one in particular that was angry. She sought me out for counsel. I counseled with her. I told her the truth. Okay? Some women don't want you to tell them that it's not cool to go upside their husband's head, as an example. I gave her the truth to let her know what she was doing to her children. And she said she wanted to stay in her marriage. So I told her what she was doing to the future of her marriage based on her actions. And she was very angry. And she walked away after seeking to have counsel and after asking for help. She walked away upset. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, she comes back. And when she comes back in tears, and she comes back in an apology. Why? Because the truth was she did not think that she could do what it took to restore her family. And instead of just biting it off and saying that was what the deal is and walking on out and trying it, she decided to get angry with the person who was sharing the word and sharing with her how to be a Proverbs 31:10 through 31 woman, how to be long suffering, how to forgive. Okay? So what did she want to do? She wanted to throw the whole thing away and get angry at the person who she read the scriptures out of the book, not from me. I didn't write them. But she gets angry. So this is a good thing when it happens. And it's a good thing because that means that seeds have been planted and it's rattled your apple cart. And once your apple cart is rattled, you're either going to do a couple of things. You're going to leave them there and let them roll all over the street, or you're going to go pick them back up. You're going to take the bad ones and you're going to chuck those out. And then you're going to make yourself a really pretty little pile again with the ones that are left. And you're going to keep adding as you go. This is life. And this is the truth. You know what I'm saying? And so here's the thing that I already know. I already know what Yahweh showed me and what Yahweh told me. And I shared it with Ronnie. And I knew that changing over to only use my Lockhart perspective for just giving the word was going to cause a little bit of confusion. But you know what the Father had already shown me? What he showed me was for those who had ears, they would hear. And that he would send the people that he wanted to hear this. There are going to be a lot of people that pass through. And for those people that say, I don't want to hear it, you know what? I understand. And with a sweet smile, I will say, thank you for stopping by. Because I know that the truth is only going to be received in the hearts of those that Yah has put his hand and mark on. And so for that reason, for those of you who are here, I say thank you. For those of you who are ready to receive the word and to study it out, to do the work, because it does take work. You see, when I was living in grace, that was easy because I got to do everything I really wanted to do, knowing that if I died in that state, I was still going to go to heaven because it wasn't by my works, lest any man should boast. Because it wasn't by anything that I could do to pluck myself out of his hand. He was just going to like me come heck or high water, the little stinker that I was, or the angel that I feigned to be. He was going to be there for me. But don't you know that in that mindset is a lie? And with it, you will have a one-way ticket straight up directly into the pit of Sheol, Tartarus, or whatever other warm compartment you choose to have your future existence in. It is as plain as the nose on our faces. Either we choose to take the word and study it on our own and live out the law the way that he told us to, or we can look at the clues, the context clues that the wizards left for us. And the wizards left things like, you don't need to do the law. And then they just throw it in your face that the lawless one, according to the word, the lawless one is the bad dude. And then they tell you at the same time, they're sitting there cracking up laughing. Yeah, you don't got to do the law. Now let's have a Bible study. And then they sit you down and then you start to read with them. And then they see, the lawless one is going to be the one that's going to go in the pit. And then they wait for the reaction on your face to see, did he get it? Did she get it? Did they get it? They didn't get it. Ha ha, they didn't get it. Yeah. lawless one. What is a lawless one? The one that's without the law. What law? The law that he said does not change. He's not going to change. He didn't change yesterday. He's not going to change tomorrow. He's not going to change the day after that. But you've got to remember the duality. You've got to remember that there's two cats, that they've painted one, and it's the one that's been painted by Rome that everybody has grasped on. My commission, Ronnie's commission, is to undo that grasp. And we know our gig. It changes because he adds more unto us as we allow ourselves to be used by him. But the grasp has got to be undone. And for those who have a very tight clench and don't want to let go, we understand. And we bid you adieu. And we love people. So it's not like, we don't want anybody here. We do. But by the same token, I don't want to cause anybody any heartbreak. And I don't want to cause anybody any harm or anybody any, they just, they're feeling sad. That's not my goal. But you know what? I want to tell the truth so that that person's blood is not required by my hands. That y'all will not require that person's blood by my hand. I don't want my hand to be involved in that. So yes, bringing the truth, allowing you to choose it, not ramming it down your throat to say, hey, this is it, you better take it or not. Don't worry about it. Don't question where it comes from. I had a pastor after my birth mother died. I was 18 years old and I couldn't understand how we literally sat there day and night asking for her to be healed, and she died. And I went and I asked him, and he gave me the answer that, there's some mysteries that God knows that you don't ever know. That didn't satisfy me. And as a matter of fact, he missaid my mama's name. And it's a public statement because I said it to him. He ended up being one of my teachers in school. But his name was James Price. It was Dr. Fred Price's nephew. And I told him, as a grown woman with 4 kids, I said, I had a bone to pick with you. Because you mispronounced my mother's name, and I felt like, wow, that wasn't nice. I held that bone until I took it to him and I apologized. And there was another pastor that told me that whole thing about not knowing the will of God and all that, and I told him at a later time, you never answered that for me. You never answered why my prayer didn't get answered. Instead of taking me directly to the word and showing me, as an 18-year-old, that life has an expiration date. He didn't use that as a point of ministry because a lot of people aren't taught that way. So we're going to get into this, and I really, really want people to come on ahead and call in and ask any questions that you want. We're here. We are here. I don't want anyone to feel like they can't ask and they have to just, leave us a 4-paragraph, synopsis in the comments. I don't want to waste anybody's time like that. I would rather for people to just come on and ask the questions now so you can hear it out of our mouth and you can understand exactly what we mean, with what we said. Again, your text or your argument will be, let me give it to you, Acts 26, verses 12 and 13 are exactly where you really want to pose your argument. And then my point with regards to Thomas was the one who really literally, he was, okay, if you want to put it in today's terms, he was like a mentee, YHWSHA was his mentor, and they were together, and he literally sat there and wrote down everything he said, and everything he said was off the chain. The way he spoke, you knew that Thomas had to be there. It wasn't any of this convenient, contrived stuff that you see the Flavians doing. And if you understand who the Flavians were, and who the father and the 2 sons were, if you understand what the term gospel means, the literal term gospel that they shove in your face, if you understand the things that are being done, listen, you got to grasp the fact that you're dealing with a group of folks and a group of individuals who've mastered the art of witchcraft and trickery. Why do you think that it's been changed as much as it has? Because they have the literal key to go in and make sure that when they tap into that particular realm, that they can change it. You're dealing with wizards, wake up. You're dealing with warlocks, hello. You're dealing with witches. You there? You're busy playing, but they ain't playing. You're busy playing, but they ain't playing. Ronnie, welcome, welcome. I heard what you had to say a little bit ago. I don't know if we're going to get anyone to come on in. It would be so good. I wish they would come in.
Yeah. Even if not, like we this topic brings about, a side topic which is extremely pertinent for us to arm ourselves with, so we can be diligent in disrobing all of the foolishness and all of the nonsense and the lies that this world has given us, and putting on the righteous garments. So uh we can dive into that, in the meantime, in between time, if anybody is going to call in. And like you had stated, this is my heart. If we know it, I promise you, it is my every intention to try to drive it home, to get you to understand it in your brain how you can understand it, and grow from it. If we don't know it, let's figure this thing out together. Call me back. We'll yeah,
We're going to figure this thing out
we'll
together.
figure it out together, and
Yeah, good
we'll get
luck.
to the
Yeah, come
bottom of
on.
it.
Yeah, we get to the bottom. Now we've got Jeremiah 16. Jeremiah
Okay.
chapter 16, 19
So
up.
just understand what we profess to believe, right? We profess to believe the word, and we profess that the written word is inspired by the set apart spirit. We all profess to understand this concept, and we hold dear and firm to it. So we have to understand that this word is a living word, and it was true when it was written. It was true before it was written, and it's true after it's written, all throughout the ages. Like, it's a living word that always is true no matter what time frame you are in. And it's constructed like that on purpose, because Yah is just awesome like that, in being able to deliver an on time, always accurate, always relevant word. Um, in saying that, Joshua 16:19 tells us, and I threw up a whole bunch of different
So that's
translated
Jeremiah.
versions.
Did you want to do Joshua or Jeremiah?
Did I
Hey,
say
watchful
Joshua?
and alert. Yes, you did.
Yeah,
Hi, watchful and alert. I
yeah, I
shouted out
apologize.
everybody else. Deb Woods, hey. The
No,
Gospel of Thomas.
Jeremiah.
Hold on just a second, brother. Deb Woods, the Gospel of Thomas. She want to know where she can find the Gospel of Thomas. I know where you're not going to be able to find it. And once you get a hold to it, you're going to see why. You will see why. It's not in the Bible. It's not a part of the Bible. Yep. Watchful and Alert says has a lot of old books. Yeah, a lot of the good old books you're not going to find. Now, the Gospel of Thomas, as Deb Woods is asking, I ended up finding a print of it. And so you can possibly find one. See, can you find one that has not had any more of the Flavian's fingertips all over it? Because that's the problem. See, you guys, people aren't mad at you, Ronnie. They're not mad at me. They really don't know how to get at the Flavians. So therefore, they're really mad at them, but they just take it out on everybody who brings them change,
I
who
would, I
brings
would,
them
I
truth.
would throw, I would, maybe it's conjecture, but I would like to throw a plausible circumstance out there, that 9 times out of 10, the people that got mad at the topic that we just presented, um, are very highly unfamiliar with the Flavians.
And I think that's the problem. So I have the book and I am going to read their account. And what I'll probably do on this channel is
Oh,
I'll just I will put it out. I won't even do it as a show. I'm
but
just going to narrate it so that you guys will have it. And it'll be put in small segments because their reign, they were off the chain. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave that there because I don't even want to get into it. But Ronnie,
it's
go ahead.
no, it's good information to know historically, and then you can line up things, and then you can begin to understand why things transpired the way they did. But in actuality, it's neither here nor there who the Flavians are. Like, use discernment, use the wisdom of the set apart spirit to show you where truth, starts to diverge from, this other tongued, this other point of view. And you can begin to see it once you dive into the script and understand its fundamental premise. When you understand its fundamental premise, then everything else is junk, is discard, is bunk. And the Flavians are a group of people that contributed to this bunk. But I mean, who they're small fries in the scheme of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're a major player
they're major.
because they touched they grabbed hold of the very thing that molds modern Western religions worldview.
Hmm.
So in that case, they are a huge player in the game. But I mean, they're small fries in compare. Like,
Well,
who?
you know what, Ronnie? You're right. They are small fries in comparison to the bigger picture. But I think that if like there, Rachel Van Ziel, and then Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Sarah Brown, and Watchful and Alert, and the Pioneer, and others that are not in my purview here on the screen, that I can't see, Deb Woods, and you all know, all of you guys, all of our co-laborers, the true core co-laborers here. There are a lot of people who come through this channel, but then there are some that Yah set here and they are pillars. Okay? Amy Duran, those type of people who come in that are literally, like, you know what I mean? They're here. A lot of them have studied a lot of this stuff. But here is the skinny. My grandson making, I think he's happy. But here is the skinny. The deal is that you do need to know who the Flavians are, so that you don't act crazy when somebody else says something you don't agree with.
Yeah,
That you can,
yeah, good
that
point.
you, yeah, you do. If we had to study them, yeah, you do. You do. Because now you're being retrained, you're restudying. Now you are studying to show thyself approved. What's the problem with that? There's no issue with that. You must study. And studying takes you outside of just the Bible. It takes you, like, like the young lady, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, or I think it was Sarah, and myself in the chat, as well as Ronnie and others who have the Encyclopedia of Ancient Roman Empire. You must go get these things, because this is how you learn. You got to unlearn what you've been learning. You got to unlearn that stuff. And yeah, so yeah, you do. You need to know who the Flavians are. You need to know who they are in reference to, in reference and in alignment with Constantine. You need to understand what Constantine was, what he was not, for real, for real. You do need to understand all the different dynasties. You do need to understand why there was that 400-year period and what was really going on with the apocryphal period. You do need to know that. Yeah, you do. So I'm not going to let you off the hook. No, ma'am, no, sir. You're not going to say I didn't share it. No, you need to study. And you need to study, and you need to go beyond that garden. I've been saying that to everybody for about a year now, here, a little bit more. I've been saying you got to go beyond the garden, because if you don't go beyond the garden, you really are going to be upset when something hits and you are like, what was that came out of the sky? What was that just happened? Did they just change what was that was walking down the, what was that they caught on camera? What you need to understand why we shared that we're not supposed to be the ones that are,
Speaking
going in and
poorly.
arguing with those spirits and all that other stuff. How come we not supposed to be boxing them and telling them where they need to go, and what, and how we reference the fact that even Michael said, the Lord rebuked thee. He rebuked you, not me. You gonna, when you really see what's about to happen, you're gonna understand why you need to study. Because the part that gets a lot of people confused is everything that happened before the garden. You need to understand when Yah says, let us make man in our image. Don't have us get into some heavy stuff. That conversation that Ronnie and I were just having was just a standard conversation. We both do our own studying on our own. And when we come and we chat, we're putting pieces together. Okay? But you don't want to understand. Everybody's running around talking. We did a series on the big head people about the Anunnaki and all of that. We did a show on that, and it was a couple of hours long. We even had Lee come in and chat. But y'all ain't ready for the whole truth. Not those who get up and run. When you get up and run, tell that person ain't ready. You can't be ready.
Mm-mm.
Because if you was ready, oh man, that little thing that Ronnie just showed was gonna be nothing. Where he connected those two dots, you ain't ready to understand
If you get
none of
hung
that.
up on Paul,
Hmm.
you are not ready for
Mm. Mm.
for Yah,
Mm.
for who Yah is himself. You're
Mm.
hung up on who a prophet and or uh what are they called, apostle is, or may or may not be. You're not ready to know who your Elohim is. Like, who? You better seek his face. You better seek his face. And then what's interesting, you're talking about the Nag Hammadi texts when you refer
Oh,
Thomas. Like, he tells you, he said, when you find out the truth, you are going to be perplexed,
you gonna be
astonished,
perplexed.
amazed,
Yes.
confused, and
Yes.
then you are going to find peace, and then
And
you will
then.
be a king.
Mm-hmm. There is that process because it's gonna make you, it will
You
blow
didn't hear
it. No, 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 no.
that.
But look here, it doesn't, it blows your mind once you, because I called Ronnie and I was like, yo, wait a minute. Remember, I was working with the kids and teaching them some stuff when we stumbled upon something. I was like, yo, whoa, wait, man, I'm telling you. So let's get it together, family. I hope you guys can call. Go ahead, Ronnie. I'm gonna give my
Okay.
throat a rest for a
Okay. Well,
second.
well, 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 I'll just talk about I don't know, some of the backlash. Let's just talk about the after effects of what that premiere that you just put on, and I'm going to read Jeremiah. I'm sorry, I said Joshua earlier. It's Jeremiah. I'm gonna read Jeremiah 16 and 19, and I want to dive into the chapter of Jeremiah 16, but 16:19. I'm just going to read a whole bunch of variations as far as translations are concerned. It says, "Oh, Yah, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit." You grab that? You grab that? Let's do the
Yeah, but
ESV.
you can't forget that this goes on a podcast too. Dead air is radio's worst enemy. You got to have a little segment. Did you get that? Say that sooner. I got you. I got you, man. Say it
The,
again. Read it again.
the
Read it
New
again.
King
Read it again.
James Version. O Lord, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of affliction, in the day of affliction. That's the time that we're in now. The Gentiles shall come to you from the ends of the earth and say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, worthless and unprofitable things. You have to understand that this word was true then. He was speaking in reference to his people um, going into exile into Babylon. Um, but aren't we in exile in Babylon now? This is mystery Babylon. The word is always true. The word is always true. The word is
Ronnie.
always true. Yes, can you hear me?
Ronnie. I love you, Iron Crane 2003. Hello. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Um, but you can hear me though, correct?
I hear
So,
you. I just didn't want our brother to think we didn't see him because I see him. And a lot of times they do block you guys from being seen. It makes everybody think they're not being seen. But I see you. Go ahead, Iron Crane. Go ahead,
so
Ronnie.
understand what's going on. Understand what's going on. The Gentiles are going to realize in the day of affliction, oh my goodness, we've inherited lies. Oh my goodness, we have inherited lies. Who? He's not talking about his people. He said the Gentiles, all the nations are going to be doing this. The nations will come to us, will come to Yah's people saying, oh my goodness, I just realized we have inherited lies. and they are all vain, and all of the things that I have learned along the way is of no profit. It is of ill repute. It's not, it's worthless. Jeremiah 16:19. Gentiles shall come unto you from the ends of the earth and say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. People are waking up and realizing that we have been duped, bamboozled. You know the rhetoric, led astray. Yeah, we have been. We have inherited the lies of our fathers, and this at this juncture is the time when Yah has allowed his set apart spirit to come and rest on people that are intently seeking his face, and he is dividing the crowd. What do you think apostleship is really about? When we break down the word apostle, we actually have meant to do a podcast on the word apostle, and when we break that down, it's
Man, I
quite
broke that
interesting.
down. Man, I broke that down a few years ago, and people wanted to run me off the scene. I mean, they wanted to run me away, and it's you got to ask the question, why? Why you mad? I didn't say it, but you're right. I think it would be excellent. I think it would be excellent. That would be a good idea.
So, well, I actually sent you an email on the different words. Apostle, apostleship, apostasy, apostate.
That was about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I got
That's
that.
that's how long we should have attacked that, about a year and a half ago or something.
We can
But
attack it.
yeah, but no, 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 no. This is the thing. When we understand that we are supposed to divide ourselves from this mystery Babylon institution that we find ourselves in, then we'll begin to realize that there are things that we have to decipher as far as using discernment. What is left, what is right, what is true left, and what is true. I mean, there's a north and then there's a true north. Come on, man.
That's deep.
There's north. Okay, but are you talking about true north? Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like all of these words.
It's the far right. It's the right, but it's
Yeah,
the far right. It's the left. It's the
exactly.
far
It's
left. Well,
exactly.
is it to the left? Yeah, it's over there to the left. So I'll just keep going till I see it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, don't tell me it's all way. It's to the left. Okay, go. Just
And
keep
we
going. How
and,
far? About a mile.
but we're commanded though. We're commanded to be able to not only decipher and discern for ourselves, but then to begin to teach others the difference between the set apart and the profane. And that's what, I understand that the scripture is screaming at every time I read the scripture is screaming at me. Hey, I see you have eyes to see and ears to hear, and you're getting it. So don't get fat off the word, disperse it to my people. And that's what I hear screaming at me all the time when I'm reading this word. So
Iron Crane is a mess.
so that's that's what I'm here to do, and that's in actuality that's what you're here to do.
That's what we're all here to do. I'm here to do it. Those who are listening by chat, and I mean those who are in the chat, those who are listening to the podcast itself, those who will be listening in the future. You know what I'm saying? It does not matter. You're called to do this. We are all called to do these greater works, to saturate the land, to saturate our space with truth, to give the truth in as much in our ability. Whatever is in us to give out, we need to give that out. And listen, you don't have to believe anything. That's the one sweet piece about this ride. We're not forcing you to believe anything. We simply want you to consider the word and go study it for yourself. Consider the information, but study it correctly. Study it with an empty, empty, empty pocketbook. The same pocketbook that I described earlier. You're going to want to empty that purse out. All right. And you're going to want to empty that satchel out for the men. Empty that satchel out, empty that purse out, and then once you get it all out, start to look for what it is you're trying to find, and only put that stuff that is the real stuff. I'm not talking about that peppermint that you didn't see from 5 months ago when you stuck it at the bottom of your purse. Now it's all gooey and it's got the baby stuff on it and hair. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about throw that out. Oh, but you found one in a package? That's a good one. Put that in. Throw the stuff out that you know you do not need. Study it. Study it well. Know it so that nobody can deceive you. See, that is the real Tony. And that's the real Tony. That's the real Tony. The real truth is to make sure that can't nobody shake you. Because somebody asked a question, what are we going to do if they take the biblios away? They take them away and you can't do anything. Well, my answer, I think it was on Twitter. My answer is, okay, you can take all the paper that you want because his word is written in my heart. Hey, don't you know that's the new covenant? Don't you know that's the new covenant? Think about that whole passage there where he's talking about how, they broke it and it was on the tablets and all that other stuff. So think about that really hard, and then you'll understand once you start thinking about the Flavians and what was it there was a library that they set on fire. Was that was in the Babylonian period? What library was that? And then they took all the cuneiform and they pulled what they could pull out. I can't think of the season. It's late for me. But
Yeah,
there was.
that wasn't Babylon. That was the Hellenes. That was Alexander the Greek.
Mhm.
When he went in and they burnt out everything in the Library of Alexandria.
And there is the Epic of Gilgamesh was one of the pieces that were still intact, as well as several others. And that's actually one of the largest libraries that can be found now. But they got it sort of hidden now behind some glass, and then the other stuff is hidden underneath the Vatican and all that other stuff. So you will never, ever, 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 ever have your mind blown by the majority of truths that are in that. Okay, my point. Go ahead.
No, no, no,
Uh,
no,
my,
no.
my point is that you need to ask the question why. For example, since we're talking about the Flavians and all, Constantine them, why did they go and have all of the scripts that the Hebrews had? Why did they go and take them if they were so crazy and there was no truth and they shouldn't have had the law? Why did they go and take them and then reserve for themselves what they wanted to keep? Why did the Flavians, the father and the sons, why did he go on ahead and insert himself and his children inside of the Hebrew texts? If he was such a great guy, why didn't he just leave it alone? Why did Paul? These are the questions. Why? Why did Paul recite exactly what Constantine said he saw? Why did he do that? Why does Paul say he keeps the law but then tells everybody else not to? Why? Don't get mad because I'm asking why. Let's ask ourselves these questions, and before we sit down to do our study, we are led by the set apart spirit to teach us and to show us. And then we can't be mad when we get the truth. Sometimes I'm going to tell you, I'll tell Ronnie, I haven't said this in a minute, but sometimes I'll go, wait a minute, that's too much. It was about a month ago when you told me something and I got quiet. Had something to do with the seraphs. And you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, he's a what? Who? They did what? And I said, I can't. And I just shut up because it was heavy. And I did not want to mess myself up. So what I did was I got real quiet and I went and studied it for myself. And I was like, yo, that was the truth. Not that he would lie, but I had to tell myself this is truth so that I could accept what I had learned because it was mind blowing. This thing, listen, you guys, just as you look at the universe, and it's huge and vast. And there are things that they're saying every single day that they've quote unquote discovered that's new. Well, there's a new fish. Well, there's a new this. Well, then there's a new that. It wasn't new. You just found it. There's nothing new underneath the sun. You just happened to locate it. It just became new to you. But it's old, older than you in time itself. It's old. So what we're telling you guys is the truth. You have to understand that just like this period right now will be written about in the future, only
Exactly.
one person's account of what really went on is going to be the one that is taught in schools. And you gotta wonder if the person who won, if the person who overcame all of the ones that they were trying to lord over, if that's the only person who's giving the account, You must need to know that somebody in the future has to ask the question, wait a minute, why? Why did they have to put that in there? Why do they have little bots now inside of them? Why? Go ahead, Roddy. Let me see if we have a
So
call.
okay, well, pull up Jeremiah 16 if
No,
you
you
haven't
got it.
already.
You got it.
Okay, okay, so that's a good question that you pose, or that's a good concept that you pose. Like this time in history is going to be written, in the future somebody's going to write about this time in history, and it's going to be taught. What's really interesting is at this time in history right here was written about in the past in the scripture. In Jeremiah 16, it talks about it. It talks about this time frame right here. If you go to verse 10, starting in verse 10, it says, "It shall come to pass when thou shalt show this people all of these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore has Yah pronounced all these great evil things for us? And what is our iniquity? And what is our sin that we have committed against Yah our Elohim? Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, says Yah, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law, and ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, you walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, and that they may not hearken unto me. Therefore I will cast you out of this land and into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there you shall serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor." This is where we are today. This is what has happened. And notice that we're getting a brunt end of a stick, not because of us. It says because our fathers have forsaken him and have walked after other gods and have served them and have worshipped them and have forsaken Yah and have not kept his law. And because we are going off of the traditions of men, because of what our fathers have taught us, our fathers have inherited lies, and we are following suit. And because of this, inadvertently, verse 12 says, we have done worse than our fathers. And behold, we walk every one after our own imagination of our evil hearts, and we don't hearken unto Yah. This is what's going on. This is where we're at. So understand that because this is where we're at, this is also where this is us turning the tide, because this is what happens starting in verse 14. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, says Yah, that it shall no more be said, Yah lives, that brought up the children of Yasharal out of the land of Egypt, but Yah lives, that brought up the children of Yasharal from the land of the north and from the lands whither he had driven them, and will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. So understand that this is the tide. We are in a time frame where this is transition period. It's obvious. Look around you. This is the transition period. People are waking up. More people are waking up into truth and are actually trying to seek out the truth in these scriptures. And we're turning against a lot of things that we have inherited, inherently just um, went with and believed and acted upon because our grandmama taught us that. Your father taught you that. It's just what we do. Every Sunday we're getting up and we're putting on our best and we're going to sit in a pew somewhere. Like this is just what we do, or what have you. But he says that we have done worse than our fathers because we are like steeped in this, and we can't dig ourselves out. But there's going to come a time, starting in verse 14. So in verse 13 it says, therefore I will cast you out of the land and into a land that you know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there shall you serve other gods day and night. We are in captivity and we are in a land that we were never supposed to be in. And what God do we serve here? We serve a Christian God here. Verse 13 tells you plain as day that we are serving gods that we do not know. And we're serving him day and night, where I will not show you favor. We're Yah is our Elohim. Yahweh is our Elohim. The quote unquote God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the one that you read about in the scriptures. He is our Elohim, not this fabricated man's traditional based version of how we worship whoever this entity is, who they have masquerading as Yah. It's two different concepts, and he spit us out of the land because of this. Verse 14 says that he is going to one day, it's not even going to be a conversation about how he took us out of the land of Egypt, the Exodus, the parting of the Red Sea, how it was super awesome. It says, verse 14 says, therefore, behold, the days come, says Yah, that it shall no more be said, Yah lives that brought the children of Yasharal out of the land of Egypt. But it'll be said, Yah lives that brought up the children of Yasharal out of the land from the north and from the lands from whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into the. So we're entering a new phase where it's going to be so great that we're not even going to be discussing the small fries comparison of when he parted the Red Sea and took us out of the land of Egypt. This is a huge deal. This is a whole different Exodus. And we are in the juncture now where we are in an Exodus, and we are migrating from the old lie to the new, to the newness. He's making everything new again. And when you make everything new, you're actually going back to the beginning. It says, verse 16, behold, I will send many fishers, says Yah, and they shall fish them. And after that, I will send many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and every hill and out of every hole of the rock. He's sending people to find his people. Fishers, hunters. If you're hiding in a hole somewhere, he's coming to get you. He's coming to get you. Verse 17, for mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from my eyes. And first I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land. They have filled mine inheritance with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable things. That's what we're doing right now, inheriting these lies and perpetuating these lies. It is dead stuff to him. We are filling his sanctuary with carcasses, with all of this stuff that we have learned along the way, and we are getting paid. He's recompensing our iniquity double time right now. But verse 19 tells you why. Yah, my strength, my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanities, and things wherein there is no profit. Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods? Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know, and I will cause them to know mine hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. And this is what we're finding out right here. We've crafted gods for ourselves in vanity, in inherited lies, things that are unprofitable. And he's in right now is the juncture where we're turning the page, and we're realizing, oh wow, we are in this rut, and we are in all of this double sin because of the road that we chose. But once you unravel yourself from all of this foolishness and you are transformed by the renewing of your mind, then we can begin to come out of this and take the turn with the rest of his people. He said he's bringing fishers to come and get you, he's bringing hunters to come and get you, to seek you out. You, he's coming to get you. And this word is ringing true to you because the Spirit is speaking to you at this time frame. And this is the time for us to get up out of Dodge. And we have to consider every facet. You cannot hold any man in high faith. Let Yah be true and every man be a liar. The scripture tells us that is actually a very important piece in figuring out what's what. Do not believe something that a man said. Seek out the truth of what he may or may not have said and line it up with scripture. And if it matches up with scripture, then that's solid foundation. If not, you need to kick right, like he just need to like leave it alone. Throw it away. It's irrelevant. And don't hold one man favorable over another. Like people are like, I don't know, fervent about holding to Paul's teachings. But Paul is a man. You can find there are things that Paul is saying that just doesn't line up. I'm not saying Paul is evil. I'm not saying that he's good. I'm just saying line it up with what Yah has commanded his people. That's all I'm saying to do. And just because he said it out of his mouth, and for 2,000 years, a certain entity who we call the church has lifted him up and promulgated his teachings and reverenced him in a certain light, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's, that what everything that he's saying, he threw a lot of his opinion in the mix. Man's opinion doesn't matter. The truth of the word is the only thing that's going to get you through the door. The truth of the word is the only thing that's going to get you through the door. Not man's opinion about a thing. Well, Paul told me such and such. Yeah, but did you do your due diligence to find out what you need to do on your walk and on your path so we can get into this kingdom? I speak a lot about the kingdom because this is the time frame. He said that the word, the knowledge, the information, the quote unquote gospel of the kingdom will be preached until it comes. So that's what all of this is about. It's about kingdom preparation. It's about getting us prepped to enter into the kingdom. And we have to lay down all of the foolishness that we have picked up, learned, and possessed. Like we've owned these things to the point of catching an attitude about certain things. Like we're catching attitudes about stuff that we have that's not ours, but for some reason we own it. But we have to let it all go. And the things that we can hold on to has to align with scripture. And if it does, then great. Hold on to it. Hold on to it. But we can't get caught in the great deception and the grand delusion.
I agree. I have some things that I want to show everybody. Now, let me give you the context in which I'm about to share. And don't you guys think that everything you just put together is all the word and it's exceptional? It's just perfect. I'm going to take you guys into a little bit of something that's a different visual for you. But here's what I want you guys to pull out of what I'm about to share. I want you all to pull out the words the way the writer writes it. I want you to pull out the context in which the writer wrote it. Do not get angry. I'm just going to present it. Let's go. Okay, let's do it. We're going to do this. Okay, let me take this off right quick. And I want to show you guys something. You know how a lot of times you'll hear people, they'll say, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to show you. And I'm going to read it. That's exactly the way I'm going to do it. All right, so first I think I want to go. think I want to show you this. I think, is this the one of iron clay? No, here you go. All right, you guys see that picture? It's a little teeny, isn't it? I hope I can make it bigger without it being a problem. Hopefully, because it won't let me click it. Do you guys see that? Do you see that on the screen, brother?
I'm
Can
sorry,
everybody see
I
that?
muted myself. Yes, I
It's
do.
okay. You can see that. Okay. Anybody have an idea who that might be? What group of people that is? The volume is really low again. I haven't changed it.
That's strange because I hear you. I hear you well.
Oh, that's not good. That means I'm gonna have to have something fixed or checked or hold on. Thank you for telling me. Okay. Okay. Now can you hear me now? Okay, that's
I
good.
still hear you well.
Okay, you still hear me?
Yeah, but somebody else said that they can't. So
I know. Brother, watchful and alert, can you hear me now? Thank you, Rachel. Yes. You can hear me
is that the
now?
Holy See?
I'm gonna read it.
Okay, who are these people?
Mm-hmm. Okay, you guys see that? Let me click over so that I can read you guys what that is. All right. All right. And there's the dead air that I loathe entirely. Okay, so pardon me, you guys, if I do not say the words correctly. All right, for anyone who may speak, Italian or Latin or Spanish or whatever, I apologize. But it's Capirote. Okay, that's. I'm going to show you something else. Let me take this off and just bring this for you guys. Take that one off. Show you this so that you can see this picture within context of what I'm reading. I think that's the bestest way not to have any confusion. So here we go right here. Now, do you see this? It's Capirote. Okay? It is a Catholic pointed hat of a conical form that is used in Spain by members of a confraternity of penitents. I hope I said that correct. It is part of the uniform of such brotherhoods, including the Nazarenos and the Fraiseos, is that it? I hope so, during Easter observances and reenactments in some area during the Holy Week in Spain, and its former colonies through similar hoods are common in other Christian countries, such as Italy. Its capriote, I believe, are worn by penitents so that attention is not drawn toward themselves as they repent, but instead to God. I showed you the picture. You saw it. Everybody gave an opinion of what they thought the first picture was. But now as you see this second picture, and you see these cats over here with the green, trying to make it bigger so you can see it. You see that, right? Yeah, we see that.
See the
That's a
Maltese
procession.
cross?
You see it? See all that? See that? This right here is the Holy Week in Malaga. The Holy Week in Malaga is a Spanish Semana Santa. I can't say that and I'm not going to try it. Okay. Is the annual commemoration of the Passion of Jesus in Malaga, Spain. You see these cats down here with these hoods? That was the first picture that I showed you. It takes place during the last week of Lent, the week immediately before Easter, and it's one of the city's main cultural and religious events. During the Holy Week, 42 brotherhoods, or Concordia, make 45 processions through the streets of Malaga, showing realistic wooden sculptures that depict scenes from the Passion or the images of the Virgin Mary, showing sorrow. The Holy Week in Malaga was declared in 1965 to be a fiesta of international tourists' interest of Spain. What was the religion that they said this was? Don't give me the sub-religion. Give me what they said it was.
Catholicism, Christianity.
They said Christianity. But now, do you know that there will be people that will see that and that will argue you down? That was their information. They said they were Christians. Never mind the fact that the hoods were adopted by another part of their distant fraternity. Never mind that. But when you show somebody that type of photo, when you say, this is Christianity, they do not want to accept it. They are closer to the actual wreck of a mess, hand in hand with Rome, than the derivative and the spinoff here in the United States. Even if you do not like the fact that they call themselves Christians, you have to understand one thing. Rome predated Christianity. Rome, the Flavians, Rome, Constantine, Rome, Gregorian calendar, Rome, all the pagan holidays associated with Constantine, who said that he prayed to the pagan gods of his father, Rome, in Rome. Now, Rome, Greece, Grecian, Greek, Roman, Roman, Grecian, Rome. The Old Testament, written in Hebrew. Hebrew. The New Testament, Rome, written in Greek. Rome, Greek. Begin to shake up your own apple cart. I just gave it to you plain and simple. I gave you the juxtaposition. I gave you the ownership of those cats in those white hoods, the cats in the colorful hoods. I gave you the picture. I read what they say about them. If you read and you find out that you want to understand about what Rome says about themselves, all you got to do is go to the Vatican, read their website, read what they say about themselves. Read how they say that they are the largest Christian, that the Christians, that they are the biggest, belief system. Well, the other one that's on the rise is the one that they've tampered with, as they've tampered with anything that would call itself any way, shape, or form related in any facet to the quote-unquote God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Jacob, okay? They are who you think they are. And when you defend anything that they have put up for as truth, I submit their job is done. It is a great affront to offer you two and make you think you chose it. They give you the illusion of choosing, and you've only been taught one way. Oh yeah, there's a lot of different derivatives and a lot of different breakdowns and a lot of different belief systems. There's a lot of that stuff. There's a whole bunch of that stuff. But if you look at it, when you return to the beginning and return to your Father, return to truth, when you go to truth, there's no returning. When you go to truth, you will discover that every single one of the roads do lead to Rome except for one. If you keep running into Rome in every belief system, even the ones that this place has made an enemy has a set of beads that they do exactly like Rome does. In every single belief system, if all the roads lead to Rome, I think you may have an issue with Rome. If there's every single road but one, there is the narrow path. Mama bear, Papa bear. Everything else is wide and broad. In every single belief system, you will find them. And they don't give you the opportunity to know truth. That's the reason why if you go to the real true places where they all meet up, all they're going to let you read out of, if you read anything, is the sheet music to the song that they might be singing that day. But as far as the teaching and as far as the knighting and all of that and everything, they do all that. They do all of that. It just got through telling us that it was the Christian. It was a Christian. This is a Christian event. That is a Christian event. Well, they say Christian, but it's really Catholic. This is a Christian event. That's a Christian event. That is a Christian event. Yes, it is. All roads lead to Rome. And the reason why they don't, Queen, is because they want to tell you what the book says. They want to tell you. And the reason why you've got the New Testament the way that it is written is because it was written to destroy the mindset and the belief system of the Hebrews. Because they understood that the Hebrews only went by what was written, by what they could. Because see, what Yah did with the Hebrews was totally different. He wanted them to come with him, especially when we keep referencing that one particular point where, as we call him, Moses said, all right, he's ready for us. You guys wash yourselves up. We reference this all the time here. Get yourselves together. He wants to see all of us. And then what did they do? Well, no, we're comfortable. We don't want to learn. We don't want to expand. We don't want to be accountable for sitting with him. We don't want to be accountable and go into the inner court. We want to stay out here in the outer court. And then now people are not even in the outer court. They're in the utter darkness. They're on the outside of the outer court. They're in utter darkness. You can't even get those same folk into the outer court now. Because when you fill yourself up with disbelief, you get further and further from truth. You become further and further away from truth. Don't leave, Ronnie. You become further and further and further away from truth when you get past the outer courts. He wanted them to come in with him in the inner court in the Holy of Holies. He wanted them to come in, sit with him. But they didn't want to do that. They wanted to stay in confusion. They wanted to stay in the dry land. Lodabar sort of feels good when you know your way around. So if you understand once and for all that Rome is the New Testament. Yeah, but you know what? They always say that the Old Testament concealed is the New Testament revealed. I submit that the Old Testament is quite revealing. I submit that there is nothing that you need to ask about anything being concealed in the Old Testament. The Old Testament is quite easy to read. As a matter of fact, I submit that the trickery that they utilize when they share with us different points as it relates to quote unquote a New Testament is quite confusing. I still ask the question, why was it necessary for Paul to reference and to say that the account that he gave was his account out of his own mouth in Acts 26? I didn't say it, he said it. This is something you should study if there's a bone to pick, right? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Glory to Yah. He said out of his own mouth in Acts 26 what he saw at noon. And the exact same account at noon was Constantine's account. And we know that Constantine only flipped himself to be a quote unquote believer in the Hebrew quote unquote God because he wanted to control them. See, once you begin to understand what was going on in that time, you'll see that they did not want to bow to them, that the Hebrews wanted nothing to do with them. And they kept scratching their heads trying to figure out a way to make the Hebrew people follow them because, well, they're Rome and they got to govern everything and everybody. They got to rule the world. And we can't rule the world if you guys are over here bowing to only your God. You only lay prostrate before him. You won't have anything to do with me and us. We got taxes coming from all these other people. You guys are just over there in your little corner and you're not paying any attention to us. So as crafty as we are and how we have been since the beginning of time, we got to figure out a way to get you guys to get on our program and make you think that we're you. I know what I'll do. I'm going to take all of the pagan gods and I'm going to dress them up. And I'm going to study all of the high holy days of the Hebrews. And then you guys, what we're going to do, I could hear them thinking together, is we're going to masquerade all of our pagan days. And we're going to sell them at the exact same time as the Hebrews have all of their days. And we're going to tell them that we now believe in their God. And they're going to believe us. And because we are, Rome, and we're the head of everything, we're the emperor, we're all the big guys, they're in the land. And so they're going to submit to us. Because there's a few scriptures that one of these scribes that we paid to put us into the whole scheme of things with the Hebrews, there's a few scriptures in there that tell them that they need to obey us. And we know that they like to follow rules with the exception of the ones that they have constantly broken. And we're going to take everything that their God said and we're going to turn it around. But we're going to poke a little fun at them. We're going to keep some of the stuff, if not most of it, in the context in which he wrote it. We're going to tell them that other people that believe in their God, that they wrote it, but it was for their benefit. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to take Jeremiah 31, right? And when we take Jeremiah 31, we're going to fashion it as a new covenant. Hey, but wait a minute. It is the new covenant. I know. But watch what we're going to do. We're going to make them believe that the new covenant is in this part of the book. We're going to seam these books together. We're going to make them think that this was part of their original stuff, but this is the new one and it's going to be built on a better covenant. But wait a minute, how are we going to do that? Watch what we're going to do. We're not going to even lie. We're going to put it in a text. And when we put it in the text, we're going to put it in a quote form, but we're not going to use the quotation marks. They're going to think it's new. You think it'll work? I don't know. It's worth a try. This is the truth. This is exactly what they did. When you look at those photos, when you hear the little funny thing I just made up here, when you understand who the Flavians are, when you understand who Constantine is, when you understand Rome's goal, when you understand the end game of Rome, when you understand all of their moves, when you understand that they do nothing new, they only use the same exact ploy and tactic time after time after time. Well, you experience it. You experience it right now today. Yeah, because tomorrow there's going to be something in the news and it's going to be exactly like what you heard 10 years ago. You're just going to change the time, you're going to change the place and the people and the players. But it's going to be the exact same story. You heard why? Because Rome is repetitive. Well, because they know what works for them. And they are very united and they're not going to divide themselves. And the funny thing about them is they're very in your face with who they are and what they believe. I just showed you what you say is Catholics and they say they're Christians. So, and the funny thing is we'll, in the past, in my past, many years ago, I would actually defend them. But when I'm defending them, they're looking at me possibly like, no, we are Christian. But I'm like, yeah, but they're not like, they say they're Christian. It's just like somebody trying to sell you something bad and you got a friend with you who really likes that salesperson because he's sharp. So you take a day type friend with you to buy something and then that day friend is like, yo, man, this cat is sharp. He ain't gonna sell you no mess, man. Look at him. He said that's the brand new one. And you're sitting there talking about, it looked like a Pinto to me. Man, this ain't no Pinto. All the salesman did was put a fairing on it, put some new shoes on it, took a Pinto, he put some white wall tires on a little fairing, some eyelashes where the lights go, And he said, "Man, he telling you it's new." You're like, "Yeah, but if I remove the fairing and the white walls, take off the eyelashes on the lens there on the front of the lights, that looks like a 1976 Pinto." But it's new to this cat that's rocking with you. Do you understand what I'm saying? They know exactly what they're doing. It's us that needs to come out of it. And we cannot get angry when we bring truth. We got to learn. We got to shape it up. We got to shape up. We got to shape up and fly right. I hope everybody had a great Sabbath today. I hope that everybody had a really wonderful time resting, being with your family, taking care of yourselves. I really hope that it was really nice. I really do. Can I say hope anymore? No, I'm learning to change my vocabulary. Hope and lucky and just so wonderful. Okay. So Lorena says so much witchcraft and Catholicism to all idols. Hello, yes ma'am. Mama Bear Papa Bear says Papa Bear knows the truth. That is why he's not Catholic anymore. Pioneer says authenticity seeker. I'm familiar with his work. He has very interesting take on the Bible and history. But what about NAR, Rachel? Are there any new age or no? Okay, it looks like you guys are loving on each other, having a conversation. Ronnie, I see you're back. Go ahead, brother. I'll just put up the questions and statements so everybody in the chat can see what the co-laborers had to say in case they missed it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of avenues that we can take based on what you just said, and just in general, as far as the conversation piece. But
I'm
I'll,
just opening up the dialogue, just opening
yeah,
up the
but you just
conversation.
said, can I even say hope anymore?
No, I
Like,
already know I can't.
because you're trying to find out, certain words, because the
It's
English
always
language it really
spells.
is,
All
and
spells.
it's crafted to give esteem to certain gods. So what's interesting enough is that in the English, hope, charity, and faith are actually three Greek goddesses. Their names are Hope, Charity, and Faith.
See what I'm saying? You just and that's the reason why Yah tells us that we will give an account for every idle word. That's how I'm
Look
gonna
it up.
leave that
Look it
right
up.
there. That tells us right there why we go. That tells us why we're gonna give an account for every idle word. That explains it. These are those idle words. I guarantee you, idle.
Yeah,
What you just said. That's
they're
why he
idle. Yeah,
said. That's why he says it. See, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. He just said we were going to give an account for every idle word. Look at that.
yeah.
So that's the reason why we need to just hush. Go ahead. I
Hope,
love you,
charity, and
Raven.
faith. Hope, charity, and faith are goddesses in the Greek pantheon. They're personifications of virtues, is actually what they are. So, you know, I strive to try to use certain words. That's why a lot of times I fumble over words, because I'm trying to pick a because this English language is just this is the spell. This is the spell, actually.
I know a
Uh,
lot of people here read through Enoch a lot, and if you do, you'll find that even in there he talks about how the words are spells, or we weren't supposed to use certain words or whatever. But then
hey,
there's a lot of stuff about Enoch too. So let's go.
well, speaking of Enoch, shout out to Watchful and Alert. Um, he wanted to touch on Enoch. Don't quote me. Chapters like, I don't know, 24 through 27 or something like that. The 20s, chapter 20s. And I remember he said that in the chat one day. So I just wanted to shout him out. Like, I I haven't forgot. And maybe we'll touch on that, one day. But there's so much to touch on. It's like,
There really is.
it might be just a passing conversation, in all honesty. But there's some good stuff in there. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is. Yeah, he said that was right, Ronnie. I like the luminaries now that I'm really getting into the whole
Oh
deal.
man.
Oh, beautiful stuff. Listen, folks, you guys have hung out with us really roughly for about 4 or 5 hours, to be honest with you, when you consider the last show was over 2, and then this one's at an hour and 33 minutes that went by really quickly. I'm not going to say what I wanted to say. It went by like the
No,
Dickens.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
going to
I'm
say,
laughing at Anthony Van Zant.
what did he say?
He's a dad gummit.
See what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Aw. Sarah Brown says the first thing my 6-year-old said this morning was Shabbat, no school today. It made me happy. Hallelujah. That is so sweet. It was more on the fragrant trees. Well, I'm gonna go and
Oh
read
yeah,
through some of
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. He encountered Uriel and Raphael, and
Yes.
he showed him the
Mm-hmm.
he actually showed him the tree of life. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, among other trees.
Mm-hmm.
But one, he was like, "Man, this is so like the smell is just amazing. What is this fabric? Like, what kind of smell is this? This is
Is this
yeah, it's,
smells like fabuloso? No, it
yeah,
ain't fabuloso. Is it Tide? No, it ain't Tide.
yeah.
What's that? Pine Sol? No, it ain't Pine Sol.
This is gain. Isn't it? This
This
is gain.
gain?
This
You're
that
gonna
oh
gain from this. You're gonna gain something from this.
right. But he was like, look. That tree right there, yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? It smells wonderful, doesn't it? That's the tree of life. So
Mm.
yeah, he took him into the garden and showed him things. When I tell you Enoch, can I tell you something before we close out?
Why not?
Look,
I'm
understand
listening.
this. Enoch, we
Mm-hmm.
are actually supposed to be Enochs, all of us. Be Enoch. Be Enoch.
Man,
This is
if
why I say
people
that.
learn Enoch's life, and that's gonna blow your mind what he just said. Oh boy,
This
that's really gonna take you aback when you find out what Enoch did and who he really was,
yeah,
and
true
why you
that.
only got a small piece of him in the regular
But
Bible.
check it. Let's use the quote unquote 66. Let's use the regular scriptures. So the word is Kanak, right? We say
Yeah.
Enoch, right? But his name
Mm-hmm.
is that I'm about to
King.
Hakalugi
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
sounds
Chanach.
Hanak.
Chanach. Yeah.
Hanak.
Chanach.
It's a hard K at the end, but at first it's it's Chanak, Kanak, Kanak. So that's
Correct.
his name, Kanak, right? And what that means, what that word means is something on the lines of dedicate or to dedicate or dedicated, something like that. One who is dedicated or one that is dedicated or
Mm-hmm.
something on the lines of that. So his name is Hanak, which means to dedicate. So what's very interesting is we are to train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they get older they should not steer from said path. Correct? Super paraphrase, but we all know the look it up and you tell me what verse that is. It's a proverb. Let's say it's like Proverb 22 something.
Yeah.
But you
Train
tell
up. So it's the train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it.
okay, so look, so focus on this. This is a mind shifting concept. It says train a child up in the way that he should go. That word is train in the English, but that's not what that word is. The word there, what he's telling us to do is to dedicate our children to the way, not train them up in the way, dedicate them in the way that they should go. 22:6. Thank you, Miss Van Zyl. Um, Proverbs 22:6. Train is the word there is to dedicate a child in the way. That's what we're supposed to be doing with our offspring, with our next generation. We are supposed to dedicate them in the way, not train them up. Maybe you could use that, and it could sort of kind of mean the same thing, but it's so much more heavy when you're dedicating them to the way. So
No,
you're
we have
supposed
baby dedications in the quote unquote Christian church. So that's not a unique word. That's the word that they be using. They have baby dedications, and people don't even like to go to church on the days that they doing baby dedications because they know that's
but
the longest day of church.
this is what the what it is implying. This is what it entails. This is what that concept entails. The word there is to dedicate them in the way. So in the Hebrew, the word is to kanak them in the way. And the ancient way, that what we believe to be Christianity, like seeking His face and studying to show ourselves approved unto our Allahayam, these things like that. That uh, that the terminology for this course, this path that we're taking, was called the way. It was called Darak.
Right, right,
Darak.
right.
Darak means the way. Hadarak. So we are making our children Enochs.
Mm. Whoa.
This is what we're supposed to be doing. So people say Enoch's not in the Bible but twice, but the concept is that's what we're supposed to be creating. All of our efforts are supposed to be thrown into our next generation and teaching them how to be Enoch.
And that will explain why they like to keep a lot of the parents off base. They get the mama out the house so they can keep everybody working. Therefore, they got the kids right where they want them. Really, the goal has always been the children to get the mama out the house, make the daddy go away, and then we get the children because now mama got to go teach, and so she can't keep them in the way. Daddy can't keep her in the way because she done put him out. So now it's just the kids, and now we got the kids indoctrinated in the school system, and it's just going to be a continuous thing. It'll be continuous until mama learn how to sit down somewhere, be quiet, and let those kids stay in the household until mamas and daddies understand truth and get into this truth until they get into the way. If you're not getting in the way and you're not doing like our sister just got through talking about how the 6-year-old got up this morning, if we're not doing that, we in trouble.
Why is this? This should be extremely heavy. Why is this important? Why is this important? Enoch lived and dedicated himself to Yah and Yah's ways and learned every aspect of Yah's ways and was nobody knows more information. No human being knows more information than Enoch did. Enoch was taken into the heavenlies and shown everything. Literally everything. So much that he was pleasing unto Yah so hard that he never died. He was taken by Yah. Never died.
But then what I like about that part is that Yah told him that he was going to bring him up there and gave him the time that he needed, and he went back.
But what I'm saying is that's what we're supposed to be. But that's what we're supposed to be doing for our children. We are supposed to be teaching them the ways of we're supposed to be teaching them to be Enoch so they never taste death. And that promise that you're talking about, they will be able to see, oh, he's coming to get me.
That's outstanding.
I'm not gonna die.
That's outstanding.
He's gonna come get me even before I even begin to kind of begin to taste death. He's coming to get me. And it's incumbent. It's up to us to do. It says train up your child. It's a command for us to do that. That's a heavy task, and we can't take it lightly. We are supposed to train our children up so tight that they are never going to die. What's up? I'm down. Who's down with me?
That's sweet. That's sweet. Y'all told me that when my children were little at Anthony Van Sant, and then Anthony says, toss that baggie. You guys, I'm not playing with him tonight. I love you guys. We love you all. I'm so glad that you guys were with us for the past several hours. And I'm glad that you guys are, just like us, wanting to learn more truth and digging deep into it. Take all that stuff that we've chatted with you guys about, study it. And, we're very transparent. Again, there's the number you wanted to call, you could have called, today. But we just want to let you guys know that it's imperative that we get this. The more, the closer that we get, the more information that we need to have so that we can really honestly gauge and measure what time it really is. I appreciate you all for spending this Sabbath or Shabbat with us. This is awesome. You guys have been great. Thank you guys for the good questions. And I appreciate those who were not even able to chat to actually come into the chat. I appreciate you for being here. I really do. We really do. So you guys, I want to remind you of what we always say here on this channel. That man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. Until we see each other again, you guys continue to be blessed. I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so When you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Lockhart Perspective. Helping you